Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Apex Greatness.
Hey.
I'm your host, Russell Broderick. This way, almost fucked it up, is Dario Albuquerque. What's up, dude? How are we doing today?
Chilling.
Another week, another chance to make some money in fantasy.
Big facts.
How'd you do last week in season long? I never even asked you. I usually ask.
In season long, I won. I won by like 40 points.
Who's on your team again?
Mahomes, Kareem Hunt,
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara,
Yeah.
Will Fuller,
Yeah.
Godwin, Julian Edelman, Jerry Jeudy, Gesicki, who's my? I don't know. And then my defense is what defense did I got? I had San Francisco for a while, and then I dropped them, and I picked up Washington for this week.
I just dropped San Francisco. After the whole I think the injury bugs finally caught up to them. But
yeah, well they've had injuries all season. It's just
but they were playing well through the first month of the year, so yeah, I was fine with keeping them, especially defensively.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Well, without any further ado, we're doing what the hell week is it? 6 in the NFL?
I think so.
We are up to week 6, and we are going to run through the main slate here on Draftkings. Starting with Baltimore going on the road to face the Philadelphia Eagles.
This is going to be Lamar Jackson running all over them boys.
Is if you were in the NFL, that's how you would run?
Hey, yeah, you gotta do like with a little swagger. Hey,
that kind of shit.
It's like a salsa, almost like a salsa run.
So outside of the Chiefs, no one's been able to do anything against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. And
yeah. And it's Philly. Yeah, Philly's about to get slaughtered.
So Lamar Jackson, so far this season, right? Not looking the same as he did last year, right? He's got a couple of down games. But the one thing I wanted to point out was, and I think I pointed this out last week, this is basically his floor at 15 points a game. 15 points a game here. This was something we really didn't see him hit more than once last year. But this year, he's hit it 3 times. So that's scary. But it does 2 things for us. It, number one, takes down his ownership, right? It makes people stop like insta-clicking on his name, and we're gonna have a couple of guys here that I think are gonna be super chalk, but Lamar Jackson's not gonna be one of them. The other thing that it helps is you just have to be smart and you have to pick the right matchups for him. Philadelphia, defensively near the bottom half of the league, but kind of in the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
But offensively, they've just been a complete mess. And Baltimore's defense has been just about as consistent as any team in the league. Outside of Kansas City, no one's put up more than 20 on them.
Yeah.
But they are super expensive at $4,500. And I don't know if they're going to hit value for $4,500. You need like a 15, 16 point, in my opinion, from your defense. Like when you can go down.
But you don't think, I feel like they can though against Philly. I could see Wentz throwing a pick.
Yeah.
You could like if you feel like a quarterback's going to throw a pick, he could possibly throw a pick 6. That gives you opportunities. I could see him fumbling, or I could see someone fumbling because they do that often. I feel like Philly turns the ball off.
They do. They turn.
Yeah.
Wentz has. I wanted to look at Wentz's numbers. I'm pretty sure Wentz has turned the ball over in almost every game he's played so far. Yeah, he's got only one game where he doesn't have multiple interceptions, but interceptions in every single game this year.
Yeah. How many fumbles? Does it show fumbles?
Fumbles lost. He's got one fumble loss at the beginning of the week. Or at the beginning of the season. week 1.
Yeah.
But, I think. Oh, I wanted to see, is Alshon Jeffrey going to be back for this game?
I know.
Alshon Jeffrey's out. Deshaun Jackson's out.
Yeah, Deshaun Jackson.
So they're left. They're left with that terrible, terrible core of receivers, led by Greg Ward and full. How do you pronounce this guy's name? He shined last week. Travis Fulham. Yeah. He had 10 for 152 and 1 last week. He had 13 targets. Wentz threw to him all over the place for minimum salary. I don't like it against Baltimore at all. I would maybe play Miles Sanders, maybe for Baltimore, but that's strictly from a season-long perspective. I really wouldn't play him in DraftKings.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah.
And because I said
it's a high risk. It's high risk.
Because I said that, 2 touchdowns guaranteed. It's a certainty. But
2 touchdowns to get him 15 points, probably.
At least in this situation, I feel stronger than I've ever felt about Philadelphia's running back situation. I just try and stay away from Philadelphia as a whole from fantasy because they really they don't care who scores. They don't care who puts up the yards. Up until this season, they really didn't have a bell cow back of any kind. A guy like Zach Ertz went from leading or tying with Travis Kelce for shattering the record for tight end receptions 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and now it's at a point where he gets 6 targets and catches one of them.
Last year he was probably top 2 or 3 tight ends. Last year too. Yeah,
and it was the same situation where the Philadelphia Eagles
they were splitting it up with him and Goddard.
Well, yes, but what I was going to say is the receivers were hurt. Same situation as this year, last year for Philadelphia, and Zach Ertz saw his target volume look like this 7 for 70. It was basically all games like this.
Yeah,
and we're not seeing that at all now, and that's really concerning. That's really freaking concerning.
Yeah.
So
it's probably because they're I haven't watched the games, but I'm assuming they're doubling him because why not? Why wouldn't you put all your coverage on him because that's his only real target?
Yeah.
And then you just let the other no names cook if they can.
But it's always a safe, in my opinion. I've been doing this every week in tournaments. Every week in tournaments, I go Lamar, I go Mark Andrews, and then I just leave it. That's my stack. And that's usually where I've been starting from for a lot of single entry contests and stuff like that. Because with Lamar Jackson, he's going to throw it to 2 guys, Mark Andrews, and the other guy is Hollywood Brown. Here. He's been getting above 5 targets every week and making up count. Only 2 games under 10.
I could see how last year that would be good, at least the Lamar and Andrew stack, but I don't know how great it is this year.
It's amazing. It's been amazing this year. Won money on it every week I've played it, because pretty much any time outside of Houston, Mark Andrews is smashed.
And Kansas City,
but that was off the slate, so it doesn't matter. That was a Monday. That was a Monday nighter.
Oh, okay.
But I love that stack.
But, I mean, Lamar's not doing his job though in those cases. Is what because the stack has to be both of them.
Look, do you see? What I mean? Yes, but But I understand what you're saying. But if you're going to, I would rather play Lamar Jackson with somebody than naked, especially if he's going to get me a situation like this. This is how it happened for me last week, where I was in the single entry contest and I had 14 points on Lamar Jackson here, but I ended up getting more than that because basically he threw the majority of those passes to Mark Andrews. And he got most of his
total
yardage.
You get 32 points.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of.
But you could have put a different quarterback that got 25, and it would have been better.
Or you could have done. Hindsight's always 20/20, my friend.
No, but what I'm saying is, I don't think that I wouldn't tell people to do that. I wouldn't rely on that.
I don't agree with that.
Rely on that stack all the time.
It's good for at least 30 points every single time. And then you just got to worry about your guys from around this. I'm not saying we have to go with this for our lineup, but what I'm saying is
I'm saying that it's safe in
terms of ownership because both these guys are sub 5%. And like I said, it's not like Lamar Jackson's throwing it to 5 different guys to get a big receiving day. You know what I mean? He's basically giving it to Andrews and Brown. That's it. So like if you think Lamar's gonna attack Philadelphia through the air, which pretty much everybody has this year. For example, Chase Claypool last week dropped 4 touchdowns on this same defense. They're exploitable, super exploitable, especially through the air. So I don't think Lamar's going to finish with under 180 yards passing in this situation. I think we'll see more of the. I think we'll definitely see over 200, and I would be shocked if we saw him run for 3 yards again. Yeah. That is a fucking anomaly to me. So I think
that's definitely,
and it's the matchup. Like if Philadelphia, like if they're playing a team that you could see,
how are they against the run?
17th. They're over 100 yards a game average. But and that's shown in the games that they've played so far this season. Because who did they play? They had. I'm just looking at Sanders to see who they played really quick. They played Pittsburgh. Connor did his usual fucking couple of carries. I think he had like 15 points. Let me see. Yeah, 15, 44 and a touchdown, and then he did his shit through his usual fantasy stat line. At least 15 points from Connor if he finishes the game. Usually he'll if he doesn't, sometimes that's my problem with James Conner is that he never finishes. But if we keep going, San Francisco. McKinnon had a big day against them. Cincinnati, wasn't that the week?
That might have been the week.
Mixon destroyed.
Went crazy.
Oh, it wasn't that? It was the week. It was the week before, but still,
they actually did good against them.
Yeah, but it's the fucking Bengals. Fucking. The one thing about the Bengals, and I never look at the Bengals and go, "Oh, that's something I should pay attention to." If you notice, Joe Mixon, no matter what, is getting that many touches, and it's usually fucking ISO runs right down the middle or slightly to the right. Where he gets tackled.
But you know what? I'm pretty sure that's when injuries started hitting them, because the week before that the Chargers did bad against them. I think that was the week. I think injuries started to play a role after week 2. It must have, because if you look, who they.
This is the Eagles schedule right here on your left. They went to Pittsburgh. They went to San Francisco. The
Rams ran. I remember. I know at least Malcolm Brown had 20 points that game. I didn't play him. I was pissed. He was on my freaking bench.
Yeah. But I think that if you're trying to make yourself different, I think it's a safe bet to go Lamar and Mark Andrews. I would play them in cash. Honestly, I would play them in cash this week because I really cannot see Lamar going under 15 points from a floor perspective for fantasy. And Philadelphia hasn't been able to stop anybody through the air. Nobody.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much I trust him throwing. But I saw him. The only game I really watched of him was against my team. So.
Yeah, so that's of course.
And that was a really bad game. That was a really bad game.
Fucking but all right, we'll move on. So, Indianapolis at Cincinnati.
Well, we know.
What?
Would you play any of the running backs for Baltimore?
Hell no.
No, you're not touching the running backs?
Let me show you.
You're not playing.
Gus Edwards has had the most run, and he's the 3rd running back.
Yeah.
Ingram, maybe we'll get you a touchdown. Maybe he won't. Yeah. It's 3 guys. Fuck that. I'm not playing any of those guys. Like,
I feel that.
Never. Like,
I'm sure that might have been a question of you.
I think last year, when it was just Ingram and occasionally Gus Edwards would come in blowouts, I think that was easier for the fantasy, from a fantasy perspective. But when they added that 3rd guy in J.K. Dobbins, I just thought they all get a little bit of work, and it's all not enough to be relevant from a fantasy standpoint.
Yeah.
In cash or in tournaments, because like basically, even if a guy gets 2 touchdowns, like you said, they'd be getting like 16 points maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. So, Cincinnati at Indy. I love Jonathan Taylor in this matchup.
I know that there was news about them possibly having they had false tests of coronavirus in Indy.
Yeah, I heard about that. But the
But I would
game's
pay attention
supposed
to that.
to still happen until further.
Yeah,
As long as I.
but I would
know, yeah.
keep that in mind. At least watch out on Saturday and early Sunday.
There were 2 games with that. The Patriots game, because of course it was, and this game that we're talking about right now. But I think both games are still. Oh no, and in fucking the Atlanta game too.
Yeah.
They also had stuff like that. So
it looks like they plan on playing.
My advice, if you play fantasy this year, go to Adam Schefter, follow him on Twitter, and make sure you get all his notifications because he'll keep you up to date on which games are happening and if there's going to be a change and whatnot.
Or use the Sleeper app because the Sleeper app
that's true.
Has all the updates. You could also use is it Fantasy Life?
Yes,
Fantasy Life is another one that gives you all the updates as well.
Fantasy Life app. I have all of these.
Sometimes you'll get notifications from both the Sleeper and Well, most times you'll get notification from both.
Yeah.
And it could be annoying if you care about that. I usually don't.
And they have all kinds of people in here giving you different start, sit.
Yeah. But they give you charts and stuff here, and they help you like know like the percentage of targets and stuff that each receiver gets and stuff like that.
Yeah. I like this app a lot. And they're the first people to get good
they also give you all the advantages and disadvantages of the week.
Yeah.
And then you could follow that for if you're doing season long or even if you
sometimes
especially if you're doing this actually.
Yeah, it helps from a DFS standpoint.
Because you could kind of guess a little bit better or make a more educated guess on who you think might pop off.
True. But Colts defense is one of the 3 best in the league so far.
Yeah.
And we just saw the Bengals go up against a good defense, and we saw the unfortunate results. So that's the biggest reason why I love Jonathan Taylor in this matchup. Also, Jordan Dominique Wilkins is out or is questionable and trending towards out, and that's one less guy in this committee to deal with. So you're really looking at Taylor and Hines. If I'm wrong and Cincinnati puts up points and it's competitive, then maybe Taylor's not going to be the best pick, and maybe Hines comes in and gets more work from a receiving standpoint. But the game script I have in my head is Taylor, and then Colts defense here at 4,000 rather.
Yeah. I hope you're wrong, man, because I'm facing Jonathan Taylor this week, and I'm hoping he just does, or at least just meets his average. If he just gets to 14 points, I'm fine.
But Cleveland, as you can see, one of the worst in the league against running backs. It's just all adding up for Jonathan Taylor at 60, and he's only 6,400. Like
that's what does the smash when you say
the smash spot? The smash spot.
What does that mean?
So when I say the smash spot, 2 things have to be: you cannot be one of the 5 most high-priced people on a slate or in a category. You can't be in the smash spot because these guys are supposed to smash for the dollar amount. Anybody under that who has a nice matchup that I think might be lower owned, that's to me, that's what I like to call the smash spot.
Okay, so he's definitely the smash spot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And it's unfortunate for me, man. It's unfortunate. I'm gonna lose this week. I'm pretty sure this is gonna make me go even.
But if I'm wrong and Burrow puts up some points on one of the best defenses in the league, I mean, it could. You never know. You know what, Dario? I'm holding out hope for you. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I hope AJ. I dropped AJ Brown, right?
Yeah.
And I hope to God this is his smash day where he just finally
Wait, AJ Brown or AJ Green?
Oh, sorry, AJ Green.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that would be.
And I hope this is the day that he just like goes absolutely off and he's just himself again.
Yeah.
Which it probably won't happen at all.
Yeah.
But I hope it is for my sake. Because if
Yeah.
he goes crazy and just makes them like, that's probably the like, just throw that into a lineup. Might as well. Just in case.
He's only 3,900. But my thing with AJ Green, my biggest thing with AJ Green and why this would be one that I won't be recommending is this target volume. If you were to show this on a chart, it looks like this.
Yeah, it goes.
Straight down.
It looks like the upside down Nike sign.
For real. Exactly. And that would be my concern. However, there are reports coming out still to this day from Cincinnati saying AJ Green's our best receiver. He's the guy. Like, we're waiting for him to have a big game. Like, whatever. But if you're looking to play anybody on the Bengals side, I would play Boyd. Maybe I won't be playing Boyd, but you could play him. Higgins has shown that he can play. But I'm not playing. I just don't play people against this Colts defense. That's a dangerous game.
Yeah.
And
if it's not if the quarterback's name don't have a Pat and a Mahomes in it, you don't trust that.
Oh, here's the other thing I wanted to mention. Big Cox is out this week.
Who?
Big Cox is out this week.
Okay, I thought I heard you say Big Cox, and I was like, maybe. I was like, am I gay if I repeat this time out?
but Trey Burton's been getting targets, like a lot of like regular tight end targets. Like if you use a tight end, you're expecting 5-6 targets a week, and he's catching them. He's just not getting a lot of yardage on them. I could see Trey Burton falling into the end zone once or twice, just from having less of a committee there. Yeah. And I know Philip Rivers likes throwing to the tight end.
Yeah. Yep, that's what I was about to say.
So that if Philip Rivers is gonna throw the ball, I think Trey Burton has a chance to be his first option this weekend.
Guys, know your quarterback's tendencies.
Word. True. Very true. Also, know your coach's tendencies. That's the two things that are the biggest indicators of fantasy success.
Game script matters.
Now we're up to 3. All right. Let's move on. Detroit, Jacksonville. This game has shootout written all over it, in my opinion. You got two teams who are really bad at defense. Just exceptionally bad. And Kenny Galladay is another guy. I think he's within. I think he's under the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Yeah, he's down here. Kenny Galladay, 6,200 against Jacksonville. I just don't know whether he's going to be Cha. I don't know whether a bunch of people are onto this or not.
Yeah.
But I love Kenny G.
What about Marvin Jones?
That's one. What did you tell me about AJ Green 5 minutes ago? You could just throw him into a lineup, whatever it might happen. Yeah. That would be Marvin Jones for me this week.
Because I think he's on a slump.
Yeah.
Because how many targets is he getting? He only got 2 targets.
But this is what happens when these are the 2 games where Kenny G has been back in the lineup. Before Kenny G was in the lineup, he was getting wide receiver 1 targets. And the thing with Marvin Jones is if people decide to lock down Kenny Galladay, he ends up with humongous fantasy days. Yeah. So that's just something that's like a dart throw. Like if you have like 5,300 left on your salary and you're looking for somebody, maybe you want to go with Marvin Jones. But that is a dart throw for me of the highest order. I would play Galladay. I really like Galladay in this matchup. Love it. Definitely think he's in a nice smash spot. So hold on, let's put Jonathan Taylor in. And let's do that. Okay. On the Jacksonville side, it looks like DJ Shark is not going to play. He did a limited practice on Friday, and he didn't practice the 2 days before that. I would be very surprised if he played. If he does not play, Laviska Shenault will get run.
That guy's name is just so funny to me.
Why?
I don't know.
Laviska
Shenault.
He sounds like a European soldier. That's what it sounds like. But
Yeah, that's a fact.
But 8 targets last week. A lot of them came after Shark got injured. This guy's been like a Swiss Army knife player. You could see he's had a couple of rushing attempts in almost every game this year, except for the last one. But I think he's cash game viable, honestly, in this matchup, especially if Shark doesn't play.
Yeah.
I think he's completely cash game viable. Another guy who I think is cash game viable for the same reasons is James Robinson. I think he's going to go under the radar this week, personally. Had a very shitty game.
Yeah.
Had very shitty games the last 2 weeks, at least by his standards when you were looking at the previous weeks. But look, still getting the target volume. 7 targets, 4 targets, 6 targets in the last 3 weeks. Like, I love him for like a double up, 50-50, any kind of cash game.
Especially if you think this is gonna be a high point scoring game.
Yeah,
you could see him if they're gonna score a lot of points. I could see him getting at least a touchdown.
Jacksonville's at home, right?
Yeah.
And there's nobody competing with James Robinson for a run at this point. It's just him. So I love James Robinson here.
I like that too.
Those are the guys that I would say are in the total smash spot for this game. If you want to play Matthew Stafford, I got no problem with that. If you want to play Gardner Minshew, I got no problem with that either. Actually, wait. Let me hold that. Let me take that back because I'm looking at Eifert being questionable. If there's more than one guy that Minshew likes to throw to that doesn't play, then I don't think Minshew's going to be viable. But if it's only DJ Shark, I think you could still play Gardner Minshew. He's been very underrated from a fantasy standpoint this season. Basically, 20 points in every game this year, except for the one outlier against Miami, whose defense might actually, we're learning, be okay. He's had multiple touchdowns. He's hit the 300-yard bonus 3 times. He runs it every once in a while. Like, he's a good value play. But both of those guys are in decent spots. Stafford, also with Kenny G back, he hasn't hit the bonus yet. But I think, especially when you're looking at last week, or last time they played against New Orleans, 3 touchdowns. Like, he's starting to find his groove. So
when you say he hasn't hit the bonus yet, what do you mean?
So the bonus is 300 yards. If you get 300 yards on Draftkings, you get bonus points.
Okay.
Well, I think it's extra 3 points. And you want quarterbacks that do that because it jumps your shit.
Yeah.
Like if you're sitting in the bottom cash point and your guy hits the bonus, all of a sudden you could take that next jump and skip a couple of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Did we hit everything? Is there anybody else you wanted to talk about in this?
No, we don't care about any of the running backs, and none of the running backs in Detroit is really fantasy relevant.
I wanted to play Swift if Peterson wasn't going to play, but Peterson's playing, so I'm out on that. If Swift ever has a moment where he's in the backfield by himself, I'll play him because he's obviously not getting any work on the ground, but through the air, he's getting a shit ton of work. So I would definitely play him in a situation where Peterson was out, but he's not, so fuck that. Now this is going to be
that's going to be
a play fucking everybody scenario. Play as many people as you can. If you can do a lineup, if you can pull off a lineup where you go like this and just take every piece that you can get, and your lineup looks like that, so be it. I think this game is going to have a metric fuck ton of points.
Yeah.
There's almost nobody I don't like. Yeah. The only thing that I would say is from a tournament standpoint, I think Alexander Madison's going to be over 30% on.
Oh, for sure. Everyone's going to be like, oh, I have to play him because Dalvin Cook is not.
It's really interesting. So, and Atlanta, obviously, if not the worst, one of the 3 worst defenses in all of football. horrific. But if Madison's going to be over 30%, I think the sneaky thing to do is to either do one of two things. You can either play Matt Ryan and say, okay, Madison's going to run on us, so Matt Ryan's going to have to throw to get himself back in the game, or to get them back in the game.
Okay.
This is a guy who's completely capable of hitting the bonus. He's a few yards short of the bonus in all these weeks, right? Had two terrible games with no touchdowns, right, in the last 2 games. He's got to bounce back. They have a new head coach. His name is Raheem Morris. He used to coach the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When he coached the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he had LeGarrette Blount on his team, who averaged about 20 to 25 carries every game. After that research, I feel that Todd Gurley is viable in this matchup against Minnesota, who hasn't been able to stop anybody either. If you're going to tell me Todd Gurley gets 20 touches, I'd be shocked if he didn't end up with at least one score. Last week, he was the number 1 running back on the slate with 28 points against Carolina, who has just been horrible, or at least horrible defensively. Yeah. If you're telling me they're going to start feeding Todd Gurley and they're taking the ball out of Matt Ryan's hands, exactly, then I could totally see Gurley being in a really nice spot here at 6,300.
And you could see how that'll make Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones even more like deadly.
Exactly, because if they get the play action working, these guys are two of the best. I mean, in Julio Jones' case, one of the best all time at stretching the field. And it's just a matter of how healthy Julio is. 6,700 is the cheapest I've seen Julio Jones in years.
Yeah.
So
is Ridley a higher price?
Ridley's the second highest on the slate under Devonta Adams.
Yeah.
And 10 targets pretty much every week. Has that one outlier game against Green Bay. But
he got injured. I think he was injured that game.
It was something like that. Or he was injured going into the game. Some shit like that. He was basically a decoy. Yeah. But I like everybody. Thielen, obviously. Look at his target volume and look at what he's doing with it. Pretty much over basically 15 points every single week. A touchdown every single week, at least. There's nothing I hate in this game. Absolutely nothing. I can't find one thing that I see and I go, I don't like it. I will have pieces of that game in all of my lineups. And that's just how I'm going to be operating this week. And it's just it has nothing to do with the offenses. Like, the offenses are relatively high-powered and talented, but it's just how bad the defenses have been.
Yeah.
They have been horrendous. And so,
do you think Minnesota? I feel like Minnesota's defense has been getting a little better. Each week.
Russell Wilson still fucked them up and won the game, like last week. And maybe they're getting a little better, but in comparison to the vaunted defense that they were, where they were top 5 in the league in years past, they're not that team anymore at all.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that I didn't say that you think deserves look?
If Julio Jones is not healthy, you could throw Engage probably, or that sneaky guy.
Zacchaeus. One of these guys has to not play for me to play Zacchaeus. I'm not playing Zacchaeus otherwise. But they said he's healthy. He ran practice on Friday, and Julio Jones is one of those guys that plays through everything.
Yeah,
he does not miss games. So I don't know. He's one of those guys that just he'll end up with 8 catches for 100 yards and no touchdowns every single time, even if he's hurt. So at 6,700, I think there's you can't really go wrong there.
Yeah.
Who the fuck do we have here? Oh, we had. All right. Let's move on. Atlanta, Minnesota, play everybody. That was basically the moral of the story there.
Yeah.
Washington at the Giants. This is a little bit different.
Yeah. It's probably the opposite.
Yeah. There's probably 1 or 2 guys I want to play in this matchup.
I like Washington's defense in this game.
That was what I was going to bring up.
You got a team that besides playing against the horrible Cowboys, this is a team that hasn't scored more than 12 points otherwise. So
you're talking about the Giants,
yeah, the Giants. So, and Washington has been a pretty decent defense.
The thing with Washington though, they've allowed 30 points against everybody. If you're playing, hold on, because I have a point. If you're playing Washington, you need to hope that they don't get at least one. They need to get this number or like 6 sacks, 5 or 6, in order for you to play them, because you want Chase Young to be just destroying their backfield.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, the Giants' offensive line sucks.
Yeah, a lot. Mucho.
Yeah.
Mucho bad.
Yeah. So you could imagine Chase Young doing that.
Raping face in there. There is another defense that I like more than this defense, but I will have some sprinkles of Washington's defense around my lineups. I like that. And if I'm gonna do that, I would be remiss if I didn't say that I liked Antonio Gibson for the same reasons.
Yeah.
He's a guy who's been just getting a lot of volume, a lot of work through the air and on the ground. And if we're projecting Washington to be even kind of up in this game, he's gonna get more run than 11 or 12 carries. The only reason he's gotten that little amount is because they've always been down or whatever. McLaurin. Yeah. I feel like McLaurin's a dart throw every single week. He's their best receiver by a mile.
Yeah.
I like the Giants' defense against wide receiver 1 specifically. You saw Amari Cooper really didn't do a lot last week against the Giants, and a lot of times where the Giants have played, the wide receiver 1 really hasn't popped.
I don't think Hopkins did well against them either.
That's what I'm saying. I have to look, but did Hopkins even play them this week?
They went Arizona. Didn't they go Arizona?
I think the Arizona played the Jets.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good. I was just like, in my head, I was like, the Giants played the Cowboys. The Giants have played. Let's pull it up.
We just click on the defense, maybe.
We can get this. So 20 of 33 passes, 0 touchdowns or interceptions against the Cowboys.
Awesome.
And that was a game where they put up 34 points, and he somehow had 0 touchdowns. Giants offense looks very fucking bad.
Yeah.
So, but they played, to answer your question, they played Pittsburgh, really good defense. Chicago, another really good defense. San Francisco, at the time, still had a couple of their guys, was a decent defense. The Rams, pretty good defense. Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald.
Yeah, but I think we were talking about like the wide receiver 1s against.
Oh,
yeah.
I have to think about it.
So I think Cooper Kupp might have went off against them. I can't remember.
But he's their slot guy. He's not the guy on the outside.
Yeah.
So,
but he's their wide receiver 1 though. So it's just different. It's just weird because usually the slot guy isn't the wide receiver 1.
Well, yeah, that's why. That's on the depth chart. He's listed as the second wide receiver. Fucking. All right. But I don't mind that. Outside of that, though, I'm really not looking to play anybody. If you want to play Devonta, if you want to take a dart throw and go with Devonta Freeman just because you need a cheap running back, I mean, maybe he's gonna get volume. That's one thing I'm positive of. Against the Cowboys, he had 17 touches or 17 carries and 2 receptions with 3 targets. So he's getting at least the 20 touches that we want to see. So you could play him, but don't expect him to do a lot. So
yeah,
I don't know. Season long if you need a desperation to go for it. All right. Chicago, Carolina. I feel nervous about this whole thing. I could see this game being like 16-19.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't I'm just not sure. I'm not sure if this offense maintains the level of efficiency that they've been maintaining. Like Bridgewater has been fucking awesome.
And Chicago's defense has been pretty decent.
Yeah.
but and you don't expect Chicago's offense to do that well against a really bad Panthers defense?
I don't. Do you like Nick Foles like that?
No, but I mean, he does throw. Does usually throw the ball a good amount.
Oh yeah, I'm not denying that.
Yeah, so I feel like that you could have some
But
viable.
hasn't hit over 20 fantasy points. Doesn't run like at all.
Yeah. Oh no, not. I wouldn't play Nick Foles, but I could see one of his receivers like Allen. Is it Allen Robinson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see like that
maybe
like as a play.
The one thing that we always want to do in any situation against Carolina is attack with the running back, because they are the worst team against the run in all of football.
Do you think? Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, go ahead. You're good.
No. My bad. I didn't realize you were going with David Montgomery. I thought you were going to talk about Davis.
Oh no. In week 2,
yep.
In week 2, if you had told me, ironically, that was Montgomery's best game against the Giants, but if you had told me in week 2 that David Montgomery is going to be the play here, I would have been like, that makes me more nervous. Now, I feel super confident in it because of what I'm seeing through the passing game. These numbers are great. Yeah. And it gives him a nice floor against Carolina, who, as we saw, made Todd Gurley look like Todd Gurley again.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So, not to say Todd Gurley's had a bad year, but he really looked like MVP Todd Gurley in that fucking game.
No, I know exactly.
He smashed.
Yeah.
So I like Montgomery in this matchup. Again, not sure if he's going to be chalk. I don't know if people are just going to do that Carolina every week.
Yeah.
That you might see some of that happen, but I feel like Montgomery at 5,800 is a really solid play. Robbie Anderson's been fucking solid all year.
Yeah, it's consistent as hell too.
I wouldn't play him against the Bears because I just don't see, like, I see the targets, but I just don't see the efficiency. Like I said, like I could see him getting 10 targets, but I could see him finishing with like 555 like he did here, and burning you.
Yeah.
Because I really like the Bears defense, especially on the outside. Like they really do a good job locking down most wide receivers. But that's really, I mean, you could play Mike Davis pretty much every week for the same reasons as I was saying with this guy, Montgomery. He's getting a lot of work in the passing game. He's basically Christian McCaffrey light.
Yeah. But I feel like he's old, like at least for the last couple weeks, he's been really high owned.
True. Well, in the Milli-maker last week, right? This is one of my lineups. He was 33% owned. He was highly owned.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth it in some situations. The guy who won had guys. Let's see. I want to say he had Mike Davis. Well, he had Gurley. Gurley's over 10% owned. Claypool's really low owned. But here, Robbie Anderson, 30% owned. Like, you can win the Milli-maker with high owned guys. Your whole fucking team can't be high owned.
Yeah.
But it's possible.
Yeah. I just felt to point it out to a viewer.
Yeah.
No. That
there is such a thing as good chocolate. All right, so we're up to Houston at Tennessee. Another game I could see scoring a shit ton of points. And another game where you can't talk me out of anybody in these matchups. Like, I love Adam.
Like, you gotta love.
Oh no, go ahead. Gotta love him.
No, you go.
Okay, so the one guy I'm gonna talk about that's sneaky is Adam Humphries, right here. Apparently, unless Corey Davis, hold on, I got to see if Corey Davis is off that COVID list. It says he is. Oh, he is. He's still on the list. He's still on the COVID-19 list. So Ryan Humphries is now going to be the second wide receiver, opposite A.J. Brown, and he has been productive this year.
Yeah.
Pretty much 7 targets a game. Tannehill loves him. And I like Ryan Humphries against Houston, who just like can't stop anybody through the air, especially.
Especially
Watson,
for that price.
yeah,
That's 15 points for 4,000. I'm good. I'm cool with that.
That's where I'm at. That's exactly where I'm at.
Yeah.
So Tannehill, I don't know if you've been hearing about the numbers on Tannehill since he took over the starting job in Tennessee, but it's like him and Pat Mahomes are the most efficient quarterbacks in all of football since Week 5 of last year. Tannehill is just destroyed. Tannehill is just completely destroyed. And last week, I think that's the QB1 with 30 points. 3 through the air, 1 on the ground. Tannehill against a division opponent, I would totally feel comfortable playing him at home against Houston. Watson finally exploded last week for a Watson game. Still had 2 picks, which isn't good, and he's been super inaccurate, especially by Watson standards to start this year. But I like him with Romeo Crennel, and I think we're going to see way more of Watson taking over the offense. And I don't know, at 7K, he does have to hit that 25 points for me. But I think against Tennessee, he has a good chance to do that.
So do you like Fuller in this game?
Yeah, so that was the other thing I was going to mention. Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller, right? So we have Will Fuller. Hold on. So we have, this was the one thing I was going to mention. Brandon Cooks burned everybody 2 weeks ago, right? Against Minnesota. Fire matchup. Came up with a big fat nothing burger, right? Absolutely nothing. And against Jacksonville, he literally exploded.
Yeah, freaking went off.
Yeah.
Was he wide receiver 1?
Maybe. He might have been. Definitely in the top 5 wide receivers last week.
Yeah.
Fucking
and I'm sure he was like probably at 4,000 that week too.
But Will Fuller, also along with Robbie Anderson, is definitely, where the hell is Will Fuller? How much is he? 68? There we go. Will Fuller, along with Robbie Anderson this year, have blown my mind in terms of how consistent they've been. 2 guys that are known for being like bomb guys.
Yeah.
I knew Will Fuller was going to get the wide receiver 1 looks, but I'm just surprised at how consistent he's been with those looks.
Yeah.
And I think
he was always a boom bust guy.
Exactly.
Always.
And he can still shred any slate. Like at any moment, he could drop 40. Like,
hope he does.
I hope not in this week, because I'm not gonna have a lot of them, but I'll have a couple Will Fullers. It's just a high price. He's just high priced now at 68. He's being priced like the way he should be, as a consistent low end wide receiver 1, which is what he is.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that though. We got to talk about AJ Brown. We talked about Chris Humphries, but AJ Brown really fucked Buffalo up on that Tuesday night showdown.
Wow.
I just didn't understand how they practiced or almost nothing, or practiced almost never, and then he's gonna put up 21 points, and they're gonna dominate by 40.
Yeah, I feel like if that was in like the second game that something like that happened, it would have been worse. But now that it's week 5, he's also hasn't played since week 1, so
yeah. I would play him at 5,600. Any wide receiver 1 that's going to be 5,600 and is going to get that kind of consistent look, I'll take.
Yeah.
And the matchup's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I like that.
Oh, we can't have 2 of these guys, but I definitely wanted to make light of that. But okay. Anybody else? Did I miss anybody? I mean, David Johnson, Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Derrick Henry would be the other guy. Here's the thing with Derrick Henry on DraftKings, right? My biggest problem with Derrick Henry on DraftKings is DraftKings is PPR. And Derrick Henry just doesn't get receptions. You have to bank on him getting 2 touchdowns or more and the 100-yard bonus, because the 100-yard bonus works the same way as the 300-yard bonus for quarterbacks.
No.
But that's much harder to do in today's NFL than not. However, 160 yards a game given up by the Houston Texans, just bleeding against backs.
Yeah.
You could play.
I mean, that's really how this team runs, though. Like, they use him as a workhorse, and then they throw it over the top.
I also don't think, in terms of ownership, Derrick Henry's going to be very high for the reasons I've just mentioned. But I think you could definitely play him against the Texans. David Johnson. How much is David Johnson? 5,400. Almost hit 100 yards last week. Has been consistent in terms of getting you over 10 points.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to see more in the passing work, in the passing game from him. I don't think I'd play David Johnson. I wouldn't be mad at somebody that put him in a cash game lineup just to say I need him to get me 15. I think he's getting me 15.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to be a top 5 running back this week.
Yeah. You can't. I don't even see him going over 25 points, to be honest.
But. Yeah. Me neither. But I still think that's a fantasy gold mine. I think if you're looking at games to stack, you can't go wrong with Houston, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Cleveland at Pittsburgh. I'm worried as shit about this game. I respect Cleveland's defense. Oh my God. Hold that thought.
It's a chest. Yeah.
Hold that thought. What is the deal with Baker Mayfield? If Baker Mayfield does not play, then I will be putting 100% of my lineups switching over to the Steelers defense.
Yeah.
Who's good when they play against regular quarterbacks. If you're telling me I'm getting the Browns backup, I'll take my 5 sacks easily, and I'll guarantee an interception. They have interceptions every single game that they played.
Would you recommend not playing Kareem Hunt?
Running backs in general against the Steelers, I avoid. But if you're in season long and you don't have any other options, I mean, fuck it. What are you going to do? Just got to pray.
Yeah.
But Steelers lock up running backs every time.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
No problem. I'm here for confidence. It's really what I'm here. Just to instill confidence in your season-long team and not tell you when you're screwed at all.
Yeah. Fucking so much.
But no. If Mayfield really doesn't play, like if we get that Shefty text early Sunday morning or the notification that Mayfield's not playing, Steelers defense all the way. All the way. That's crazy. If he does play, I think I'd still take this day. I mean, that's crazy news. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that he was questionable. Damn. You know what? I think I would like to. Damn. I think you could change. That'll change a lot of shit for me on Sunday morning. Because I think Connor will then. I'll then have to play Connor.
Yeah.
And I just don't. Connor, like I said before, every single time he plays, he's good for at least 15 points. If he finishes the game, he's good for 15 touches. He's usually going to get a touchdown, and he's going to get some work through the air. Like James Conner and the Steelers' lead running back is one of the most valuable fantasy positions in the NFL.
You can expect some people to go crazy in this game too, because remember they have like a huge rivalry, or at least they had that big fight last year. I don't know if you remember that.
True.
And I feel like they hate each other. So
here's the other thing I wanted to bring up. Philip Rivers, who hasn't really thrown the ball that well against anybody, including the Cleveland Browns. Like, I was looking at that game last week, and I was like, these were two like real decent football teams, and Cleveland stomped them. And I was really surprised that they still were able to get their points. And I don't know, maybe Cleveland's for real.
Yeah.
In which case, I just worry about Cleveland's defense. Like, Denzel Ward will be able to stay with Claypool, who, by the way, Deontay Johnson's not playing, so that clears the path for this if you want to try and chase the points from last week. But I will be here's a fantasy forecast. I don't see Chase Claypool getting 45.6 points again this week. Very unlikely. So,
no.
Fucking, I would say, I don't know. I'm going to be fading Claypool. But if other people want to play him and you think that he's like the next big NFL superstar, fucking have at it. I think he's going to be pretty highly owned, though.
Yeah, for sure.
And that'll be an easy one to avoid. But that's basically
you think Odell? Would you?
Fuck
you wouldn't play Odell. You wouldn't play.
I really don't like Odell. I don't trust him. I think that 38.
Is Juju not playing?
So Juju, I thought last week would have been a good week for Juju against Philly, and Claypool stole all his shine.
Yeah.
There's totally a universe where Juju gets a lot of looks in this, or against the Browns defense, and comes up with a big fantasy day. But at 6,600, when Claypool's a lot cheaper, it's hard to pull the trigger on Juju for me.
Yeah.
But if he's in a millionaire maker lineup,
I just don't know if I'm
super surprised.
Yeah. I just don't know if I'm thinking Claypool's their number one receiver right now.
I mean, he is when Deontay Johnson is out. That's for damn sure.
I mean, for what? One game?
Well, look, I'm going to explain this to you. So Deontay Johnson, right? 13 targets, 10 targets, 2 and then 1 when he got hurt, right? Basically, Claypool took that role of the high target volume guy. Used to be Antonio Brown's job. That's the guy that Ben throws to. Juju has once again moved to that second slot. And that's that you can tell based on the targets and the receptions. Like, he's just not the number one guy. It's that simple.
Damn, you just hurt his whole feelings.
It is Juju, what it is.
I'm sorry. You ain't shit, boy. You just be used to number 2.
That ass.
1 + 9. Oh, that doesn't equal 2.
Hey, dude, it's cool. Juju and doo-doo rhyme.
Oh.
No, but honestly, like I said, if you had a millionaire maker lineup and I happen to see Juju on it as like a leverage play, like, oh, everybody's going to be on Claypool, you know what I'm doing? Juju. And then he fucking has 7 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown. Like, that happens. But I won't be playing.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. We have the Killer Cam making his triumphant return.
Bang, bang, bang!
And so far, the only player outside of Josh Allen who's not on this slate, but the only guy that I would play totally naked. And what by that I mean, I would not stack him at all. I'd just play Cam by himself.
Yeah.
And the reason is because of these insane rushing numbers that he was able to put up pre-COVID. Hopefully COVID didn't weaken him too much and he feels fine. And he's back to running the ball 10 fucking times a game.
You don't see N'Keal Harry or Edelman being
Edelman's still questionable.
Yeah, but he does that all the time. Like, he's like limited in practice, and then he plays. Yeah,
but like he usually plays well. Like, if he plays hurt, the game.
Yeah, but
Seattle.
Remember he had bad quarterback play.
Yeah, but that only in one of the weeks, not both of the weeks.
They didn't play. What do you mean? They didn't play that well against
Cam Newton's played 3 games. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. And how many games they play? 5, 4?
4. Because they had the bye week.
Okay. Oh, gotcha.
And that's what scares me about playing Edelman. I think he's hurt. I don't think he's fake hurt. I think he's hurt.
But he played one. All right, so time out. He played one bad game with
2
Cam.
bad games.
One bad game with Cam,
yeah,
and then one bad game with bad quarterback play.
I mean,
so I don't know if I'm ready to. And then the 2 other games were pretty good, so I don't know if I'm ready to just jump off the Edelman ship yet.
I mean, if you're gonna do that at 5,600, that's fine. But I'm out on that.
I can see him getting you 15, 20 points for sure. The Denver defense is pretty bad.
It's just he's not playing like that. He's played through injury before and it's gone well. And I don't know when I watched him play, you could tell he's favoring shit. In the way he's moving. I can't explain it any further than that, but I don't know. I guess if you want to stack Cam, you could probably do no wrong with Edelman, but
you don't think Harry either?
Yeah.
He likes Harry.
I fucking hate N'Keal Harry. I think N'Keal Harry sucks.
Really?
I think he sucks. I think he's garbage. I think he's gotten all kinds of opportunities and he's done precisely jack squat with them.
Let's go to his stats.
He sucks. Fuck.
Just go to the slate. Just go to that slate so you don't have to.
These are his numbers.
8. Wait.
He gets 12 targets. The best he can do is 8 for 72. He doesn't get any separation. He doesn't blow by anybody. He's garbage. He doesn't break tackles. He doesn't do anything.
But think about it. If you get him 15 points for 4,500, that's pretty good.
Look, Damiere Byrd at 3,500 is getting more targets and doing slightly more with it. If you really want to play that game.
But that was with a different quarterback, though.
No, it wasn't.
That's what I'm saying.
Seattle, he literally did it with Cam. 9 targets with Cam. It's only in games where they feel like they have to throw the ball that any of these receivers get looks. Otherwise, Cam and Burkhead and those guys are going to jam it down your throat 40 times a game. That's
Denver's a team that you're gonna plan to throw because they have one of the worst throwing deep.
You might think that, but they're bad because of injuries all around. They don't have any of their main stalwarts. And that's why they've sucked. Okay,
but why wouldn't you take advantage of it? That's cheap. Those are cheap plays. I feel like that you could throw into lineups.
There's no evidence. There's no evidence of high volume. There's absolutely no evidence of high volume unless you're talking about Edelman. And I think he's hurt.
I can see that.
I think he's hurt. There's no getting around that. I think he's really hurt, and he's not playing up to Edelman's standards.
Edelman get 25 points this week.
Yeah, of course. Or N'Keal Harry's gonna make a catch like this behind his back, some insane over the head catch like this, just to tell me to go fuck myself. But I really don't like I don't like anybody. There's a reason why Tom Brady left. Put it that way. It's because those receivers are trash and he wanted to play with real ones. So I'm out on that.
And what do we think about Jerry Jeudy and Patrick?
Not against the Patriots, and not with potentially a backup quarterback. It looks like Drew Lock might play.
Yeah, I think it's looking like he's
but he's still technically questionable, and the coach is leaning on the side of caution. So that makes me nervous. But I'll tell you one thing. Philip Lindsay might be by himself. Because Melvin Gordon got a DUI earlier this week. Or was it?
And he's I thought he had a DUI.
He did, right?
The illness.
So it's just a double whammy of shit for this guy.
Yeah.
Because I saw the illness and I was like, oh, well, let me not smear somebody's name if they didn't get a DUI.
Personal, yeah. The personal stuff, I'm pretty sure, is the DUI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's not sure if Gordon's going to be active.
COVID.
Yeah, he's not sure if he's going to be active Sunday. If Gordon doesn't play, Philip Lindsay's proven to be a stud in the past. And if he's going to get a full complement, that's cool. And he can catch out of the backfield too. So he's good to get you a decent number of points, I think.
Yeah.
But only if Gordon doesn't play. If Gordon plays, fuck all that.
They were Jets in Miami now.
But that is it for me. I know there's a couple of people who are talking about playing Deshaun Hamilton because Hamler's not playing. No, thank you. I'm out on that. I just don't like when we're getting to third options on a team that like is not known for throwing like that. Yeah, it starts to lose.
And they're not known for scoring that much either. Like, so it just doesn't make sense.
It's just not something that piques my interest. But I would definitely play Cam naked in a lineup. So I think that's what we're gonna do for this lineup for now. I'm just gonna leave it there, just because it gives me easy guys to move with. But we're into the afternoon slate. There's only two games in the afternoon. They need to remedy that. They need to not have that. We should be doing half of these games at 1 o'clock and half of these games at 4, because this is going to be boring as shit. I mean, these games might not be boring, but red zone's going to be boring.
Yeah,
it's like driving 100 miles an hour at 1 o'clock, and then right at 4 o'clock you're switching to 30. That's literally what it feels like. You're just moving in slow motion. It's crazy. New York Jets at Miami. Looks like rain. If it rains, if it doesn't rain. I love Miami's defense.
You know what the Jets wish they had? You know what the Jets wish they had?
Le'Veon Bell?
Oh, yeah, a running back to run in the rain.
Yeah, most likely.
Now he's on my team.
But Dolphins defense. Dominant in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Getting interceptions, making plays. Played really well against San Francisco, and they're about to face the worst team in the league, and they're only 2,900. Smash button for me in terms of defenses under 3,000. They're it. I would play the Dolphins, and it saves you a lot of money. If it doesn't rain, then I feel super comfortable going with the passing attack with Fitzpatrick, who has been nothing short of amazing all year from a fantasy perspective, at least. And then I'd stack him with Parker and Mike Gesicki. But again, looks like rain. Myles Gaskin is 5,400 here. A guy who's taken over the bell cow role here and been consistent pretty much every week.
Yeah.
That's it. On the Jet side of the ball, you're playing Crowder, and that's it. That's fucking it. Because I want to play Jeff Smith, but if Perriman plays, then Jeff Smith is no longer viable.
Yeah.
He still got 11 targets last week, even though he didn't get the points total. He still got to 11 targets. If Perriman doesn't play, I love Jeff Smith at min salary. Absolutely love him. Even though Miami's defense is good, they'll target Crowder because for whatever reason they just feed Crowder in New York. But Jeff Smith, 11 targets last week. He had like 4 of them in the red zone, but Flacco just couldn't get an accurate ball thrown to the fucking guy. But I love Jeff Smith at 3,000. Love him.
Yeah. And if Miami's going to be putting up points against them, they're going to have to start throwing,
at
even
some
if
point.
It's in the rain. Yeah, can't just lose the game.
Yeah.
Or,
but I really like that Miami side of the ball. Pretty much everybody on this side of the ball I like. But that was pretty quick for me. I'm pretty much ran through the guys.
I don't see anything else.
These are two teams that it's very specific who you play. You're playing Fitzpatrick, you're playing Gaskin, you're playing Parker, you're playing Gesicki, and then you're playing the defense for the Dolphins if you think it's going to be a shit show like it was last week for Miami.
Yeah.
But that's really as straightforward as it's going to get there. This is the most interesting game on the slate.
That's going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah. From a football standpoint, this is going to be a W. Mm-hmm. From a fantasy standpoint, I'm scared it's going to be like one of those like 21-24. Like it's not super high scoring, kind of like tough going for like not a lot of solid offensive possessions.
Yeah, I can see. I see what you mean.
It makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Just from that standpoint. Like,
more of a you think it's going to be more of a defensive game?
Well, here's the other thing. There's fans in Tampa Bay, and Green Bay hasn't seen a lot of fans yet this year, based on the teams that they've played. When I look at Aaron Jones' game log here, like Minnesota, no fans. Detroit, no fans. New Orleans, no fans. Atlanta was probably a couple. Oh no, they were home for Atlanta, so no fans.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay will be their first experience with fans, and I know Aaron Rodgers has been taking hella advantage of the hard count. So that's what I'm most interested to see. If Aaron Rodgers is still going to get that shit going, give me Adams, give me Aaron Jones, give me Rodgers, Stackzilla. Yeah. And I will take that. And we will ride. And I will just play minimum players because I'm pretty sure all three of those guys are over 7K. But Adams has been itching to get back on the field. Tampa Bay has one good D-back, one like really solid D-back, but outside of that, nothing to really be afraid of.
How do you like Tampa Bay's receivers against them?
Love their prices more than anything. Love Godwin this week. Oh wait, sorry. Love
you
Godwin.
Better wild out. He better wild out. Give me like 40 today. I haven't seen you for a while. Give me like 40.
It's just a matter of who guards Godwin and Evans. If Jair Alexander is guarding Godwin, then it'll be Evans. If Jair Alexander is guarding Evans, then it'll be Godwin. That's pretty much what it's going to be for me. Yeah. Is Fournette going to play?
I think he's questionable.
Yeah, still questionable. Let's see if he's trending one way or the other. Questionable. Technically active last Thursday. They don't know. Not sure yet.
Yeah.
If he plays, you could probably play him. Green Bay's been pretty bad against the run. Been letting up a lot of touchdowns, especially once they get in the red zone. But it just depends on like Brady after this debacle.
Yeah.
I feel
he's gonna want to.
He's gonna want to spaz. So it's just a matter. And he's at home, so
you're giving him a grand stage to do it. So
and of course
everybody's gonna be watching this game. So.
If Fournette doesn't play, then you're totally safe playing Ronald Jones. He's gotten almost 20 points every time that.
He's in the pass game a lot, right?
Yes, he drops a lot of balls though, which is annoying. And Brady gets annoyed with him pretty easily, but get away with playing him. But yeah, all right. We need 3 more spots here to fill out this team.
All right, so
what about
like Jefferson or no?
Let me see. So Jefferson, it just depends on. Do you think Atlanta's going to be able to keep up offensively?
Yeah, I see what you.
Because if you think they're going to keep up, if you think they're not going to keep up, then Madison's getting 25 touches, and Justin Jefferson may not get the work you need.
Yeah.
But if they're in these close competitive games like this, then you see the target volume start to increase. So that's my thing. And at 6,000, those guys worry me. I'd rather take Crowder on a way worse team, but it's just surefire work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like that. Actually, that is smart.
So we'll take Crowder there.
Because you're giving more opportunity. Yeah, you're definitely getting the more opportunity.
Oh, this is my guy. I'm playing Jonnu in a lot of. I love Jonnu Smith. Oh wait, I can't have him because we have Humphreys already. But I love Jonnu Smith this week. I forgot to mention him. Points per game wise, the number 1 tight end in all of fantasy football so far this year, in terms of fantasy points per game.
Wow,
Jonnu Smith.
Who would have thought?
Not fucking me.
Who would have thought I'll be caught in this life?
Another one with who would have thought? Jimmy Graham is leading the entire NFL in red zone targets. Nobody's being targeted in the red zone more than Jimmy Graham. I think that's interesting. I hate playing Darren Fells. People try to get me on this bandwagon, they can fuck right off.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
He has to fall in the end zone.
But he does. It's because it's a matter of, do you think, huh?
Like people say he does, but really that's just your emotions playing with your head.
No, but look between Fells and Atkins. I promise you, they both get touchdowns. That's the thing. Like, he throws to the tight end a lot.
I'm not going to be playing guys like that.
Yeah, but Atkins is injured.
He was limited in practice on Friday.
Yeah, but
wasn't he injured last week? No, am I wrong on that?
3 touchdowns and 3 or 4 touchdowns between the both of them in 5 games. That's
but
good.
No yards.
It's a good rate.
It's touchdowns not enough for me from a DFS standpoint.
How much does he cost?
More than $3,000. Like 7.6 is not cutting it for me.
Yeah, of course,
and that's that's a guarantee. He's guaranteed to get me 3 catches for.
Isn't Tennessee bad against the tight end though?
I mean, their thing is like it's a middle of the field type deal. If you were gonna do that, if you're really looking at Houston and that kind of thing, I'd rather play Cobb, who is always floating underneath and gets way more targets. Because Watson's
I'm just saying, I've watched Watson's games, and when he scrambles, he goes to the tight end. Like,
but
literally
not like first option. Like, if they're open, sure.
Yeah, but it usually works out because when they're in the red zone, a lot of the times, obviously, you got Fuller that's going to be what they haven't had.
There are three wide receivers on Houston I'd rather play before any tight end, and then David Johnson before those tight ends. Like, there's so many guys.
But it's not about. It's about, would you play that tight end over every other tight end?
Oh, absolutely. We have a lot. We have a lot. I'd rather play Hooper than him. I'd rather play Kyle Rudolph, who
going
gets the same amount of
one of the best defenses in the league.
Kyle Rudolph gets the same amount of terrible volume, and I'd rather play him than fucking Darren Fells. I hate Darren Fells. I just don't think he's talented. It's the same thing with fucking N'Keal Harry. I just don't think these players are fucking talented.
Yeah,
they fall. They get lucky. They fall with the ball in their hands in the end zone.
Yeah,
fuck that.
I'm not really thinking about the talent. I'm thinking about I feel like he can get a touchdown. Or 2
if he gets 2 touchdowns, that's great. It's probably 14 points. Like,
no, it might be like 17.
Yeah, but it's never going to be 20. And if it is, that's an outlier.
But you're getting him for like 4,000.
You're getting him
for like 4,000.
But for what I'm saying is, for that same price range, right?
Look,
for that same price range,
you're getting him for 3,300. Oh no, sorry, 3,800.
And for 30,
my bad, I thought I saw Atkins.
For 39, you can get a guy with Hooper who's gotten 10 targets, 7 targets, like guys who are getting way more work in the passing game. I just think that Fells is like, oh, Fells got a touchdown. You're wrong, Russell. Like, I don't give a shit. I'll miss out on his 3 or 4 touchdowns in a year. Like, that's fine. It's just not the one I want to play, but I'm just not going to because he's really not getting any work is Gronk. Because you in the back of your mind, you have like years of him being total fire and like completely capable of catching the ball, but he's just not getting any work this year. Like, he wants to block. And if he was going to get work, he was going to get it last week when they were missing a lot of guys in the passing game.
I don't think he wants to block. I think that's his role. Because I think he complained at least in week 3 or something like that.
He didn't complain. Did you listen to the interview? He went on NFL Network and he was like, "I'm here to block." And people thought that he was being sarcastic, but he really wasn't being sarcastic. Before he left the league, he was the best blocking tight end in the league. Like, this is his job.
I could definitely see him being sarcastic.
I think that's just your heart telling you, oh, he's Gronk. He's good at catching. So, of course he wants that. But I'm telling you, he wants to win more than he wants to get stats. That's for damn sure. Fucking, that's why he didn't want to play on the Patriots, because he just didn't want to do that drill sergeant shit. But the moment Tom Brady left the Patriots, he was like, sick, where do I sign up? I thought he was going to be good for O.J. Howard, but now O.J. Howard has a torn Achilles. Rest in peace. This tight end's really a wasteland. What about Gesicki?
It's going to be raining.
How bad, though? And also, every time I see that a game's rainy, it's really been one game so far this year that rain has affected the score. Other than that, every time I see this fucking rain up here, I've been wrong, or it's been wrong. Like, only once has it really affected it. And I like Gesicki's volume. That's the one thing. He was on my waiver wire because of this bad game against Seattle, and I thought that was insane.
Two straight bad games.
Well, you were telling me it wasn't, but this bad game wasn't really a bad game because they targeted him in the red zone. Like,
oh my god, you were just freaking bitching about the other tight end and
because
saying,
he sucks.
Whatever. And you're like, oh,
because
no,
he's not
it's
good.
Not a bad game.
Because he's not good.
Catch in the end zone. That's fine.
So you're telling me? You're telling me Jordan? You're telling me Darren Fells? No, now you got me mad.
My emotions.
You're telling me? You're telling me that Darren Fells is better than Mike Gesicki. That's what you're telling me.
No, what I'm saying is
exactly. You're not
on this guy
because he sucks.
Sitting on this guy
because he's not good. Because he's not a good football player. It's not emotional. He has 2 catches for 57 yards and a touchdown. He's not efficient. He falls into the end zone.
Half of Gesicki's games, he's been ass.
Yeah, but last year he was fucking dominating, and last year Darren Fells was doing the exact same shit that he's doing this year. Mike Gesicki is a fucking wide receiver 2 playing tight end.
I'm just letting you know how you were being hypocritical.
I'm not being hypocritical.
In a 3-minute span.
I'm not being hypocritical.
3 minutes ago.
I'm not being hypocritical.
Nah, I'm not going to just go with a guy that could just get a touchdown.
No, I'm not being hypocritical.
The guy gets a touchdown, he's like, oh, that was not a bad game. He still got a touchdown, you know.
I'm not being hypocritical. There's a difference between when Mike Gesicki catches a diving touchdown in the corner of the end zone and when Darren Fells falls into the fucking end zone catching a baby out of the sky from Deshaun fucking Watson.
Are they both touchdowns, Russell?
You're hating.
Literally, Fells has more touchdowns than Gesicki.
Yeah, but Gesicki gets way more volume, and he's way better. He beats the D-backs constantly down the field. Darren Fells literally catches the ball, breaks a tackle, and that's how he ends up in the end zone. Maybe. Most of the time, he catches it and drops.
For this is he's like their second target, and Darren Fells is like their 4th or 5th. That's the best argument, I feel like.
Isn't that what I was just saying? That he's a wide receiver 2 in a tight end spot? Isn't that what I just said?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is just like if you're gonna go cheap, you can't like if someone has like nothing left and they're like, all right, I gotta just find a random tight end. Like I'm not gonna tell them, oh, like you could possibly get a good.
I would play Cameron Brate before Darren Fells. Like I'm never playing Darren Fells. Darren Fells is trash. I can't.
That's emotion for you.
It's not though. Please show me Darren Fells' games. Actually, find any game where Darren Fells has put up 100 yards.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
It's like if I got you for 3,400 and you giving me 14 points,
he's not getting you 14 points. He's literally
he just gave you
13.7 is barely 14, and that might be the best game he's ever had. That's my point.
No, it's not.
He literally is not good.
And he's literally splitting. He's splitting catches with the. I'm not talking about him in general. I'm talking about the tight end for that team. I've seen Deshaun Watson so many times scramble at the red zone at like a red zone time or whatever, and he'll just scramble and throw it to one of his tight ends and they get a touchdown. If it was just that's what I'm saying. If it's just one tight end, I feel like if he's the main one getting those targets, then you're good because he's gonna be throwing it to him at the red zone. I feel like it's more of Deshaun Watson than the tight end. This could have been Atkins, and I would have been saying the same thing. It's not because he's Fells. Showing me his history.
I'm wrong. Maybe I'll find a game where he's scored more than 20 points. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, 19.45, but you totally just scrolled right past
Fantasy points, 24 here. That's a career high. He caught all 6 balls for 2 touchdowns, and he had 58 yards.
Literally, I'm not arguing for the guy. I'm arguing for for Deshaun Watson.
But then I would still take the 3 receivers before I would take Darren Fells. Like, I just think Darren Fells is not. I would never
in the red zone though.
I would never.
I feel like he's gonna get you he could get you a touchdown. Especially if you feel like the game is gonna be high scoring, I could definitely see.
But it's PPR. Like I'd rather take 6 catches and no touchdown than 1 catch and a touchdown because it's the same points.
But he's not gonna get. I would never pick Brate over him.
The only reason Cameron Brate has zeros here is because OJ Howard was there. Otherwise,
yeah, but you want to know why he's getting all that? Why he even gets volume is because his freaking main receiver or one of his main receivers was injured for 2 weeks.
If you think so, Cameron Brate is literally the most annoying player in fantasy for years. And Evans
is another one that was injured throughout that time too. He was playing, but he was injured.
But for years, Cameron Brate has been getting targets, and once again, as soon as there's a spot, when they have Rob fucking Gronkowski on the team, Brate still got the same amount of targets and did more with it than arguably the greatest tight end ever on his team.
Literally the greatest tight end that took a year off.
I guess. Lots of guys do that. But fucking...
No! Who? Come on!
Michael Jordan, the greatest ever!
Oh my God, that's different than football.
Let's move on.
Way different.
But, hold on.
We got to take them licks.
We got to finish this lineup. We still don't have a tight end after all that.
Pick Gesicki. Shit, I hope he gets 3 points. And I have him on my team. I hope he gets 3 points and my man gets 15 and I can shit on you. I'll remember that too. I'm going to pay attention.
Darren Fells is, if he finishes, nah, you know what? Whatever. Because I'm sure because I said something, he's going to finish his career as the greatest tight end of all time because I said he sucks. No. Like, that's usually how it works.
Let's do a wager. If he gets over 15 points, you shave your whole body.
If he finishes this season with over 100 fantasy points, I'll give you $100. But he's not finishing the season with 100 fantasy points. It's not happening.
Based on what? Draftkings?
Yeah, PPR. I'll give you PPR points. $100 says he doesn't get 100 fantasy points in the season.
Go to his thing. Let me.
This fucking guy. He's already got 20, so you're on your way. If you really feel confident, he's already got 20, 30. 25.
30, he needs 70.
I'm confident he puts up 4 more 0-point games and maybe a couple of 3-point games. You're not getting 100 points. No fucking way. None. 0 chance. Absolutely 0. He would have to get 5 more touchdowns. Not happening.
Do I have to give anything up?
No, you just keep your...
Oh, okay.
You just lose dignity.
This, then.
You just lose dignity.
Fuck that. Yeah, I'm cool with dignity. We're doing this. Your audience, we have this on camera and today's Friday, October 16th.
Yeah, he's not getting 100 points for the rest of the season. From week 6 on, Darren Fells is hot garbage.
Let's go, Fells!
You know what's going to suck? When I leave my house and I go to the grocery store and this big 6'8" motherfucker is standing in front of me. And he's like, I heard what you said on your show, asshole. Fucking,
all right, we got to pick.
Last guy.
Who we got?
5,600.
What we got? Oh, let's go Gibson. If we felt like...
You want to go Gibson?
No. We could do that. He's been...
I don't hate Gibson.
I'm happy.
Let me see.
Or we could go Lev Bell, you know. Joking. You can't do that. Or you shouldn't.
I just hope he does stuff in Kansas City. I hope that he catches a lot of passes. I could see him having less than 10 runs per game, but him just getting 7 or 8 targets.
My main thing is I hope that he just doesn't fuck up my team. That's my main thing.
Let me tell you something. He didn't fuck up the Steelers when he was on the team and playing.
Yeah, I agree.
All of his stuff was off the field. On the field, he was not distracting.
It was
anybody.
Antonio Brown, or maybe not Antonio Brown, but his.
My thing is, I was about to say, there's a 15% chance he has CTE, and I'm not willing to call him a piece of shit.
Yeah. Nah,
If we find out in 5 years that he has the brain like Chris Benoit did of an 80-year-old Alzheimer's patient, that'd be fucked up. All right, last guy. La Visca.
You gotta make sure. Yeah, we just have to make sure that
Shark doesn't play.
Shark can play. Yeah.
But yeah.
Wait, that's dope. I like that.
Oh wait, no, we can't. Wait, we can't do that because we already have the running back. I don't like overdoing it, especially if I'm not doing the quarterback to stack. It just seems like you have to get a lot to go your way. I don't want to pick Chase Claypool. I'm scared. I feel like he's going to have like 3 points after 45.
Yeah.
But the only reason I think he might be a safe pick is because Deontay's out. Other than that, I want to play somebody in the 4 o'clock window, but there's like there's nobody fucking here. I mean, I guess I could play, but I already have a couple of guys.
Wait, we got Campa Edelman. Fuck it. You can't lose out on anything with that.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
No, I hit the wrong button. Final lineup. We have Killer Cam Newton, James Robinson, Jonathan Taylor,
Bang bang,
Jamison Crowder, Julian Edelman,
ding ding,
Adam Humphries, Mike Gesicki, Smooth Routes Kenny G, super smooth, and then the Dolphins defense.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
I mean,
maybe
one of these.
I hope not.
One of these.
Yeah.
Fucking but all right, that was the lineup for this week. It's been week 6. This has been Apex Greatness. I'm your host, Russell Broderick. That way is Dario Albuquerque, and we are saying peace.